Euromaxx highlights. Coming up on the show. Long trip. E-Type Jaguar owners drive 2,000 kilometers for the model's 50th anniversary. Big Show, a new exhibition with works of art from banks and boardrooms at the Marta Herford Museum. Little Bear, Little Tiger congratulate their creator Janosch on his 80th birthday. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Robin Merrill.
Hello and a warm welcome from Berlin. We begin in Paris, where the fashion world is just recovering from the frenzy of another fashion week. Czech supermodel Karolina Kurkova has been away from the public eye for some time, having a baby. Now she's back, and let us spend a day following her around while she rushed from one show to the next.
That's the walk of a supermodel in a fashion show. While this is Karolina Kurkova in private on the streets of Paris. Born in what was then Czechoslovakia, today she's one of the highest-paid models in the world, on a par with Giselle Bündchen, Laetitia Casta and Heidi Klum. During the Paris prêt-à-porter shows, her agency is a commotion of activity, but amidst it all, Karolina Kurkova remains an island of calm. Now 27, she's a seasoned veteran of the fashion business. After all, she started when she was just 16.
I worked very hard. I mean, really, at one point, I just worked for 4 years straight with, I had no time to see friends and to, have fun. You know, I really worked.
But the hard work was worth it. Kurkova's career went ballistic. She became the model of choice for labels like Versace and Dior. Karl Lagerfeld is also a fan.
I love Karolina, her energy, her personality, her wildness, which is nonetheless very controlled. She's a great woman.
The top model progressed into stardom. Yet Karolina Kurkova remains a woman with her feet firmly on the ground.
Even if you more successful you get and more you're around beautiful things and people say, oh my God, you're the best, you're this and that, it's very easily you can forget and lose touch of real things. And I think for me that's very, very important. I love talking to people on the street, people I don't know that come up to me and maybe know who I am or even don't, and I can talk to them and they feel so happy that I'm talking to them. You know, I don't think of myself as someone more than them.
Kurkova can now select her jobs, and less can be more. Her manager says the only shows he'll consider are ones that are useful to her career.
She no longer requires an introduction. Everyone knows Karolina Kurkova. When you promote a model, you try to get as many shows as possible. But with Karolina, it's different. She's supposed to be present, but only so that people want to see more of her.
Jean-Paul Gaultier wants the Czech supermodel for his show. Kurkova is the face of his latest ad campaign. For her, it's a successful comeback. In October 2009, she became a mother and then took a year off.
Definitely having a child, it's another layer to yourself and to work and what you do and how you do it, and just makes it better. And sometimes hard. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say it's always amazing and perfect when you have to leave and you miss your child and you don't want to, but we all go through it.
On Gaultier's catwalk, Karolina Kurkova is hardly recognizable. She's wearing a gray wig, but is keeping the perfect pose.
Karolina is a very good model. I've been working with her for 10 years now, and for me she's still just as beautiful and still has the same energy. She moves well, knows what she wants, and the camera loves her.
Dutch designer duo Victor and Rolf have also booked her for their show. Here the models are getting some real color on their faces. It might need getting used to, but models have to endure the unorthodox.
With a face like this, of course you're not going to just go, without expression. It definitely gives you an attitude, it gives you a persona, it gives you a look, a feel.
The designers said they wanted a fashion crusade with strong women. They succeeded.
We've been working with Karolina for a very long time, and she's just the most beautiful, amazing girl around.
Despite all the compliments, after the Paris Prêt-à-Porter week, one-star model is looking forward to the simpler things in life.
I'll be at home with my son, going to park, playgrounds, classes, cook, bake, clean up the apartment.
A supermodel who doesn't put on airs. How refreshing.
The sculptor Lorenzo Quinn has undoubtedly inherited some creative talent from his father, the famous film star Anthony Quinn. Lorenzo also began his career as an actor, but he did it really to subsidise his art. Today, collectors from around the world pay huge sums for his works. We met up with him in his adopted home of Barcelona in Spain.
Lorenzo Quinn is happiest when he can work alone and uninterrupted in his studio. The sculptor seems to drift into his own fantasy world, leaving the pressures of daily life behind. He always has several works in progress at the same time.
I just love this. I love having my hands on the material and making the sculpture. It makes all the difference.
This plaster model of two hands will be cast in bronze. A version of this piece is already on display in Qatar.
I'm in a very creative period right now. There are some times when there is a low tide of creativity as the ocean goes out.
Now 45, Quinn focuses his art on the human figure and especially on hands. Symbolism and the vocabulary of form play a key role in his work. The theme here, the yearning for peace between Israel and Palestine.
For a sculptor, the hands is our tool. And everybody can relate to it. You know, you have somebody holding hands, everybody understands that that's love or you're asking for help. So it's a universal language. And because I show in every continent around the world, and because I want to have a conversation, I want to have a dialogue with the people, it's very important that that dialogue is then understood.
Quinn's showroom is right inside his studio, in an industrial area not far from Barcelona. He's also his own manager. He has a long list of fans and clients, including Spain's King Juan Carlos. Quinn's unique creations can be seen around the world, in Spain, England, Asia, or in this case, Qatar. Lorenzo Quinn was born in Rome and studied art and theater in New York in the 1980s. His artistic talent follows in the footsteps of his father, Anthony Quinn. The famous Mexican-American actor was also famous in Hollywood as an avid painter, sculptor, and art collector. Lorenzo tried his hand at acting too. He played the young Antonio Stradivari alongside his father in the movie Stradivari.
I was actually acting to support my art career. Of course, because, you know, I was earning good money as an actor. And, you know, sculpting is very, very expensive. I couldn't afford sculpting. I couldn't afford a studio. I couldn't afford the cases, the transportation, the insurance, the bronze, the molds. Nobody was paying for that. I was very proud, so I didn't ask my father for the money.
What is it?
He also played iconic Spanish surrealist Salvador Dali, an artist Quinn deeply admires. He says the role changed his path in life.
I don't hate acting, but I don't love it. So if I don't love it, I realize that it's not what I want to do in my life.
His true passion is sculpture. And now he has so many clients that this casting facility in northern Spain works almost exclusively for him. He comes here several times a week to watch over each step of the process. The sculptures are cast in various sizes. Most are plated in bronze, but some are cast in steel or aluminum.
This is incredible. This is a metamorphosis. The metamorphosis, no? How something liquid then becomes solid and it becomes a sculpture. That's a great thing.
The price tag on his pieces can climb into 6 figures. Lorenzo Quinn and his colleagues set up this installation for the first time. The piece is called Stairway to Heaven and will soon adorn a church in Liège, Belgium. He seems to have the energy and inspiration to keep creating new masterpieces.
What amazing sculptures. Now, 50 years ago, the brand new E-Type Jaguar was presented at the Geneva Motor Show, and it was love at first sight for car fans around the globe. This week, 50 vintage E-Types drove from Coventry, where Jaguars are made, through France to Geneva for this year's motor show. We went along for the ride in a car that is considered so beautiful, there's even one in the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
They're back. The most exciting Jaguar E-Types, built between 1961 and 1975, are standing in front of Geneva's Hotel Parc des Eaux Vives. 50 years ago, this is where the E-Type was unveiled to the public. And now, after a 2,000-kilometer journey, Jag fans show off their wheels.
Such a superb piece of styling. I mean, the power bulge on the bonnet, the whole of the outline of the car. This is a beautiful-looking car, and it's never been matched by anybody else.
It's a beautiful car to drive. It's very powerful. Particularly at the top end, you have a lot of torque.
The car has cult status today, but it did back then too, practically at once. It signaled a new age. It rang in the 1960s. The whole new and different ways of thinking. The revolution of the 1960s. This car stood at the dawn of that age.
91-year-old Norman Dewis climbs back into the car that he drove 50 years ago from Coventry to its presentation in Geneva.
It's like being back at home. It's wonderful. You don't lose the feel of the steering wheel and the seat.
Dewis didn't actually leave Coventry until the evening before the car's gala premiere in Geneva. Despite driving at full speed, he arrived too late for the last ferry from Dover. The captain had already blocked off the loading ramp.
But then he looked at the car and he said, "What's this car?" I said, "It's a new Jaguar. Brand new, it must..." "Oh," he said, "what a car." So he get on talking, he said to the boat people, "You must let this guy on." He said, "You must see this car, it is the new Jaguar." And only the car got me on the boat.
Next morning, the international public got its first eyeful of the new Jaguar in Geneva. It was a breathtaking sight. Jaguar founder William Lyons assembled the best talent available, especially designer Malcolm Sayer, to blaze new trails in auto construction. A grid tubular frame connected the new design's passenger cabin to an aerodynamically optimal engine hood. The independent rear suspension was far ahead of its time.
In 1961, that was state-of-the-art. It was high-tech. Although this car had so much advanced technology, it had an unbelievably affordable price, about 26,000 marks at the time in Germany. Comparable Ferraris and Maseratis cost twice or 3 times as much.
Today, this lightweight E-Type costs 6 million euros. On their long ride from Coventry to Geneva, the E-Type aficionados keep making detours to racing circuits to find out just what their 265 horsepower engines can really accomplish.
Well, if you are tough enough, you can get up to 250. You can go fast in an E-Type when you learn how to handle and drive the car. On those days, this car was a fantastic driving machine. But of course, today is more than car with traction control and all that. It's much easier to drive.
Afterward, the majestic motorcade continues its leisurely ride through the byways of Britain and France. At the end of each leg, the drivers settle down in exclusive hotels.
the sight. It's almost like a beautiful car, isn't it? Magnificent. You come down the drive, this is waiting to greet you. Amazing.
It's to have nice things, things that are made well, and things that are elegant, but work well and stand the test of time. Yes, it is a lifestyle.
After reaching their destination, the drivers make sure to visit the Geneva Motor Show and check out the latest Jaguar, the XK-SR. At 550 horsepower, the meanest big cat of all.
When I look at the specs, the technology, the way it holds the road, I think an amazing car. When I ask my heart and feel my pulse, my heart just isn't beating faster this time.
Only one thing to do, get back behind the wheel of an E-Type and hit the road. That'll get your pulse going.
That really is a classic car. To Herford in northern Germany, a small town with a big museum designed by the great Frank O'Gehry. Right now it's hosting an exhibition of artworks belonging to a bank, which are normally hidden away from the public eye in boardrooms. We wanted to find out why banks invest in art and, of course, take a look at first at some of the works on display.
An exciting new exhibition featuring works of art from banks and boardrooms within the walls of the Marta Herford Museum. A look at 100 pieces from the collection of the Unicredit Group. A range of styles from different eras and artists on show, including Giorgio de Chirico, Kurt Schwitters, Andy Warhol, Fernand Léger, and Gerhard Richter. Big names in the art world, whose paintings have fetched millions on international art markets. Tensions are high the day before the show. Each work that arrives safe and sound is a relief for the museum team. This small sculpture by French avant-garde artist Yves Klein is worth about €1 million. It used to stand in a bank boardroom in Munich. The exhibition brings together works from 15 locations in Italy, Germany, Austria, and Luxembourg.
It's always a very exciting moment because suddenly you get to see things you remember from photos in person. It's always a magical moment.
The Banking Consortium's collection contains some 60,000 works in total. In 2005, the items located in Italy, Germany, and Austria were officially combined, making them one of Europe's largest corporate art collections.
It's not just that these works were hanging in meeting rooms, offices, or company hallways. It's that they haven't been seen in this combination because they're from different locations.
For centuries now, banks have been collecting art to decorate their buildings. Unicredit has also carried on that tradition. Walter Guadagnini is the chairman of the committee that oversees the collection. The exhibition has given him the opportunity to see many originals for the first time. Guadagnini says it was important to agree on a central theme: contemporary art, especially works from Central and Eastern Europe.
I would say that it's not for financial investment. Supporting, in some sense, contemporary artists and contemporary art scene means to support not only the present, but to imagine the future. And this is something that is totally different from a financial investment. It's really an investment in the cultural knowledge, in something that can grow together with you.
This is one of my youngest kids. It's a recent purchase. We hadn't even hung it yet. It's being shown here for the first time.
Bärbel Köblin takes special pride in the photographic work of acclaimed German artist Thomas Demand. Half of the works on display belong to the Hypo Vereinsbank, which joined the Unicredit Group in 2005. This Baroque-style townhouse in Munich is home to the private banking offices of Hypovereinsbank. In the last 50 years, the bank has collected some 20,000 works of art. This Gerhard Richter was bought in the 1980s, shortly after it was completed.
That's our focus, that the collection is European and contemporary. We collect art that's been created in the last 10 years.
Back at the museum, people interested in seeing which artistic treasures bankers have chosen to adorn the walls of their offices still have until May 22nd to visit the exhibition entitled Things Are Queer. Then the works of art will go back to the offices, meeting rooms, and company hallways from whence they came.
And art of a different kind now, but for me with so much heart. The drawings and stories by Janosch of Little Bear and Little Tiger have given joy to millions of children and adults like me around the world for over 50 years. Janosch himself turned 80 this week, so we wish him a very happy birthday.
The heroes of Janosch stories are characters that march to the beat of their own drums. They're outsiders and underdogs, but they always beat the odds. His books are tales of friendship and tolerance. For more than 50 years now, Janosch has been writing and illustrating books that millions the world over have read growing up. Readers know him as a humorous and creative storyteller, but he has quite a different view of himself.
Autistic, senile, reluctant to work. That's it, that's the truth.
The Trip to Panama is his most famous book, published in 1978. It's the story of a bear and his friend, the tiger. Together, they embark on a journey to Panama, a place they envision as paradise. But they end up learning that their own four walls are their true utopia. The story of leaving home to find home was an international hit, and the book was later made into an animated film.
Panama is our dreamland. Tiger, we have to go there tomorrow. What do you say, Tiger?
Tomorrow. We have nothing to be afraid of, Bear, but my tiger duck has to come along.
The tiger duck, a striped wooden figure on wheels, has become a Janosch trademark. But it was an accidental invention.
It was a surprise. I didn't notice what I'd drawn. There was a gap in the picture. I just filled it.
Janosch was born in 1931 as Horst Eckert. He grew up in Upper Silesia, in what is now Poland. He started painting when he was young, and later attended the Munich Academy of Fine Arts. But the school didn't recognize his talent, and he was kicked out after a few semesters. So Janosch started to write and illustrate children's books. The story of Valak the Horse was his first book. It was released in 1960 under his artist name Janosch. Since then, he's published more than 300 stories, turning a former hobby into a lucrative career.
My horoscope said that work would make me unhappy, and you have to follow your horoscope. Since then, work has made me unhappy, so I don't work anymore.
But Janosch is still writing and painting. His pasta cookbook was published in January. The pages feature his characters teaching readers how to cook. The dishes are easy to make, with savory and sweet picks to choose from. Back to Panama and paradise. Janosch found his about 35 years ago. He moved to the mountains of one of the Canary Islands after a major surgery. He's found happiness in this small house on Tenerife. Janosch says he's not planning on doing anything special for his 80th birthday. But there is one thing that's important to him looking ahead.
Lasting good health.
happy birthday, Janosch, and many more to come.
And so say all of us, and keep drawing and writing wonderful stories. That's all we've got time for, so thanks for watching, and bye-bye.